Cynthia is a leader.
She has great integrity. She is a wonderful communicator.
She sort of always knew where she wanted to go and where she was taking things.
And I just can't think of another person that I know of who served the public who deserves this more.
My name is Cynthia Coritz. Remember being a child and getting home from church and still being dressed up and not even going in the house and changing and just going right into the yard and playing. It just kind of progressed from there.
She used to be in charge at Island Beach State Park, at Barnegat Lighthouse, and then in Tuckerton itself, she has a long history of the Environmental Commission, with the Historic Preservation Commission.
She always was at work when I would drive past on my way home. She was always putting those extra hours in. She always gave more of herself than she expected in return. She takes the extra time to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to provide input, not just her staff, but the community.
Cynthia and I both trained under the same superintendent, Bill Vibert, and his attitude was always both the protection of the resource, but also the visitor and the people. And I know it was instilled in Cynthia that while you're there to protect the resource, you're also there to make sure that people can enjoy it safely. And she did an excellent job of maintaining that.
A volunteer who I met on the Batona Trail not long after I started working at Bass River State Forest ran into him and his wife on the trail hiking. And he came to me one day and said, it's really hard to walk down Stage Road when you're supposed to be on a trail. And would you consider realigning it?
So we worked with her with maps, and we went out and measured and looked at the best possible route. And then she put together all the paperwork that was necessary to go to Trenton to get all the approvals. The approvals took about 90 days, which we sweated out. And after the end of 90 days, the approvals came in, and it was just a wonderful thing. And every time I walk the first 3 miles of the Batona Trail in Bass River, I think of Cynthia and her contribution.
During her time at Bass River, she really did a lot to improve the outreach and public access, starting lots of things like dog walks and just getting people more involved from the public. That's still continuing.
One of her biggest impacts is the Tuckerton Historical Society, which a lot of these kind of groups, these small, mostly all volunteer organizations like the Tuckerton Historical Society, go through an arc, and they're very productive in the beginning. And what happens is people lose steam, people pass on, they move away, and she's really been an important part of this rejuvenation.
For the anniversary of the establishment of the CCC camp at Bass River, Cynthia arranged a commemorative event, so she was able to put together all of that important research on the CCC camp, and they were able to locate some of the CCC boys that were now old men and invite them to the commemoration, the ceremony, and appreciated the individual contributions of the Civilian Conservation Corps to the park, and was able to preserve the legacies of the CCC boys. If it wasn't for Cynthia highlighting the history of these places, people wouldn't really know about it, and a lot of people wouldn't care. But because Cynthia cared about the history, and she cared about preserving the legacy of the people that built up these parks, that's the reason why we today still have that history to look back on.
Well, I just want to repeat that this award, the John C. Bartlett Jr. Government Leadership Award, we actually visualized Cynthia Coritz when we invented this award, because she has integrity, she has purpose, she's effective, but she's a decent person.
I'm a big fan of Frederick Law Olmsted, and it's a very short quote, but it says, "Parks are for all people." I truly believe that.